that will put the pressure on Tim Sheens and his men as they become the first Super League opposition to visit the Canadian side. Right, sides were announced about an hour ago. A couple of changes for Toronto in the back line. Nick Rawsthorne comes in, as does Mason Caton-Brown for his first appearance for the Toronto side. No Matty Russell and no Liam Kay, both injured in victory over Halifax. Pack is unchanged for Paul Rowley's team, and just one change on the bench. We mentioned it before the break. The experienced Richard Whiting comes in alongside Jack Buchanan, Andy Ackers and Adam Sidlow. No Will Oakes for Hull Kingston Rovers, so Joe Wardle comes in on the wing. Todd Carney has a calf injury and cannot play, has not travelled to Toronto, so Chris Atkin partners Danny McGuire in the halves. And there is no Sean Lunt. Big blow. The experienced Tommy Lee will come into the front row alongside Rob Mulhern and Nick Scruton. And following a 2-match suspension, there is return for Mossy Massoy. He's picked by Tim Sheens alongside Ben Kavanagh, James Donaldson and Chris.
And a huge game, as I say, for Toronto, who line up for this biggest game in their history. In the words of Brian Noble, they host Super League opposition for the first time in the shape of a Hull KR side who dare not lose if Rovers are to avoid an appearance in the £1 million game for the second time in 3 seasons. As we've been saying, no team has lost its opening 2 in the opening qualifiers and made it through to Super League at the end of the series. And having kicked off their campaign with a home defeat to Salford last weekend, Tim Sheens' side have little margin for error at Lamport Stadium against a Wolfpack outfit who know 2 points here would put them in a glorious position to go on and secure back-to-back promotions. So it's the Wolfpack who get this historic fixture underway. Hull Kingston Rovers, the first Super League visitors. And Mulhern takes the first tackle, comes in from Ashton Sims.
Well, what they've definitely got, this Toronto side, is they've got some household names and they're used to winning over the last 2 years since they've been formed. They've swept everybody aside and they're saying that we want to crack at Super League. We want to be in there mixing it with the big guns. And you know what, Hull KR have got it all on against the side that'll be cheered on by the home fans. There'll be a big crowd that's turned out here tonight.
Featherstone, the only club to lower the colours of the Wolfpack on Canadian soil. Good run from Tommy Lee, though, for Hull Kingston Rovers. No Sean Lunt for Tim Sheens' men tonight.
Well, an injury already to Darcy Lussick, number 32. One of the big, powerful forwards that the Toronto Wolfpack have to start this game. Inside the first minute, though, we get a stop in play. They run over the top of Blake Wallace. They've almost run through Darcy Lussick. I don't know whether his teammate here, some sort of injury as he is involved in this tackle.
Tackle fine, guys. Steady when, Tommy.
His brother Joey, already a winner of Salford today.
Wait.
And they, of course, beat Hull Kingston Rovers last weekend, Joey's Salford Red Devils. As the kick goes high, first test coming up then at the back for Gareth O'Brien. Deals with it well, but the Hull Kingston Rovers defenders in quickly.
Well, solid at the back, isn't it, Gareth O'Brien? And any team that's coached by Paul Rowley, you know that they do like to throw the ball around, whether they're trapped close to their own try line or whether they're up the other end of the field. But Bob Bezic, they've got a clever 9. They've got some big forwards up front in the likes of Lussick and Ashton Sims. And that man who's taking the ball now, Jake Emmett, playing it loose forward, but more like a prop forward. Good charge from Sims.
Grand finalist back in 2010, Jake Emmett with St Helens, as Darcy Lussick takes the Wolfpack over the halfway line. Ball's come free, and that has been reefed out, says the official James Child, and so it'd be a penalty to Toronto.
We'll try and control the go forward from Toronto. He's a classy forward, Lussick. Very direct, picks out a defender. The ball stripped from Hull KR.
And the Wolfpack will start this just 30 metres away from that Hull Kingston Rovers line. First tackle comes in from Nick Scruton. Bezic waits. One-handed pick-up. Lussick with the first carry. This is a good, strong run from Corey Patterson on the back of that. Volume levels lift around the Lamport Stadium. Great opportunity. That was Wallace. Tickle with an important tackle. Bezic again to the right-hand side for Sims. Oh, and he's put the ball down. I think it's Chase Stanley who's knocked that ball on.
Oh, they had some space, didn't they, out wide? Chase Stanley, if he takes that ball when surely that could have been a certain try. They know it.
But they've been good at creating the overlap. Gareth O'Brien is, in my opinion, a Super League style fullback and a Super League quality one. You see him very often here trying to be involved as he takes the pass. The ball goes in front of O'Brien. Everyone's expecting it to him. Stanley wasn't expecting it, and although they had the overlap, first chance really in that corner's gone. Lusick receiving treatment again from the physiotherapist.
Chase Stanley, 110 appearances in the NRL over a decade with St George Illawarra, Melbourne and Canterbury. Very experienced New Zealand international, 29 years old. Just couldn't take that ball in though, and so Hull Kingston Rovers asked to carry the ball away from the danger area as far as Tim Sheens' men are concerned. Tommy Lee waits. Working, not the best pass. Junior Vai with all sorts of pressure on him there, and they come up with the knock-on immediately, and Toronto Wolfpack with a great response to their own mistake.
Well, I've liked watching Hull KR this season. They don't win every game, but they will try things. They want to entertain, they'll take risks, throw passes. They've thrown one here. They'll do this very often inside their own 20-metre zone, but the pass isn't accurate enough. And then at that point, then there's a knock-on. Toronto get excited here. This sort of sustained period of pressure close to the opponent's try line, and they smell a chance for a first score.
Finished top of the Betfred Championship, Toronto, 8 points clear of second place London, just lost 2 of their 23 games. As Wallace goes in first of all, gets his side to within 5 metres of that try line. Bezic is there.
Oh, he's knocked him over.
On Sims.
Was that Tommy Lee?
Clattering out to the line. Emmett though gets the ball away. It's been put down a second time, this time by Josh McCrone.
Well, Tommy Lee comes up with a decent shot in front of the sticks, doesn't he? On Ashton Sims, really stops the prop forward in his tracks. Again, looking to shift the ball, just quite not getting those passes correctly when they're looking to shift the ball long. Imagine as well that there's some nerves going through this Toronto side up against the Hull KR side that last week they were beaten by Salford. Thought they lacked some punch, and they played very lateral, made too many errors early on, and if you looked at them as a whole, you think that they probably relied too much on the halfbacks to pull them out of trouble.
Bound to be a few nerves around, hosting Super League opposition for the first time. They've certainly had the best of the territory in this opening 5 or so minutes, as Mulhern has 3 around him. Lusick among them, Emmett as well. Bezic completes that trio. Back inside, and that's Scruton, wrestled to the ground by Emmett again. Tommy Lee to the left-hand side, short ball. Joe Greenwood now.
Penalty.
Interference comes from McCrone.
Josh McCrone all over James Greenwood. James Greenwood hits some really good lines. Plays out wide, looks to target the halfbacks, picks him straight out, gets over the top of Josh McCrone. He's caught the wrong side of the ruck and can't reposition himself.
Substitute against Salford last week, having missed the win at Hull. He had started the previous 8 before that, James Greenwood.
A team like Toronto, who've had it all their own way for a couple of years, how can they handle sustained pressure down near their own line? The speed of which Hull KR have used to playing the ball in Super League against the physical Toronto side.
Mulhern with that first carry, and Hull Kingston Rovers with the first opportunity to see what they can do in attack. That's Scruton again. Dixon among the tacklers for the Wolfpack. Maguire, the danger man. Looked up by Emmett. And that was Tommy Lee. And the kick is a good one, but Chase Stanley is there. And Stanley brings the ball back safely for the Wolfpack.
Well, perhaps a little surprise to some that they've kicked so early in the tackle count. But you've got to remember that this Toronto side, they kept their opponents scoreless for a full 80 minutes last week against Halifax. The defensive reputation growing after that sort of effort.
Mason Caton-Brown's first involvement, his debut in Toronto colours today. Man, ex-Wakefield man. It's a good run from Bezic, over halfway. Stanley, O'Brien under pressure. Gets a good kick away, and Almost a mix-up, a collision, in fact. And Quinlan gets up safely with the ball. That's the main thing. Craig Hall was the other man in that.
Well, great tackle by Craig Hall. Unfortunately, he was on his own man. Adam Quinlan, got to make sure you communicate at the back. When those towering bomb goes up in the air, you've got to make sure that you command it and you let your teammates know what's happening.
More evidence of nerves around. It's such a huge game, this one, as Ben Crooks take this ball forward now for Hull Kingston Rovers.
Well, they've got some speed out wide, haven't they, Hull KR, when you look at the likes of Ben Crooks, Bye-Bye, Wardle and Hall.
And they're in that Toronto Wolfpack half of the field now, and Scruton put down by McCrone and Ashton Sims. The kick testing O'Brien, but safely collected. Tompkins with the tackle.
Well, marching forward, making easy meters, then Hull KR.
I'm talking about making meters. Mason Caton-Brown's trying to do that. Probably the best meter runner that they had really was Matthew Russell, out injured now. Him and Liam Kett, both starting wingers from last week, injured here today. And wingers nowadays in Rugby League asked at the starter sets to get the team rolling forward. So Ross Thorne and Mason Caton-Brown given that task here today. And then hope that big Ashton Sims can follow on the back of it, but he's lost the ball. The referee says play on.
Still Toronto possession, and they've got the ball really well out to this near side. And there is the pace man, Mason Caton-Brown.
Good skill by Gary Wheeler then. Tried everything to create that space out wide for Caton-Brown.
It was a lightning shift, and now they go to the right-hand side now. Paul Rowley's men. Chase Stanley. Daniel Vaiva with the tackle. O'Brien's pass. And Dixon. And Tommy Lee round the legs. Penalty coming up.
Problem with, I think it's Chris Atkin over on the left-hand side for Hull KR. Physio's onto him now. Was hurt in a previous collision. And you know what, I don't know what's gone on with Tommy Lee and Ashton Sims, but those two are having a right ding-dong together. 2 shots Tommy Lee's looked to get in the face of Ashton Sims.
Opportunity to kick a goal and take the lead here. Not sure everyone's taking on some fluids.
Hot conditions. They're going to run the penalty, in fact, and Sims charges in again. Right under those Hull Kingston Rovers posts. Bezic with a short ball. Can they get over the line here? Emmett repelled. Good ball, and Stanley manages to get the ball further wide, and Rawsthorne is in for the first try. It's a Toronto try first up in Canada. The perfect start for the hosts, and Paul Rowley's men on 10 minutes go into a 4-0 lead in this vital game.
Well, they are a team that are used to scoring points. They've posted some big numbers this season, and they've got the confidence to come into these playoffs knowing that they can trouble most sides. But have a little look at the pass. The first one from Bezic, straight away to McCrone, and then that one from Stanley goes to Rawsthorne, and it's a clear run to the line. All created, 2 clinical plays here. McCrone, Bezic, and that pass there from Stanley. Good finish as well.
Sweet moment for Nick Rawsthorne, signed from Hull FC, of course, on the eve of the season, and now he strikes against their bitter rivals. First try in the qualifiers, as you see. 15 tries already this season. Got a couple in the Easter win at Toulouse, and a couple in a 64-0 home defeat of Barrow as well.
Loads of time, Jack. One boy.
Gareth O'Brien then from the sideline.
Come on.
An excellent kick, and 6-0 Toronto lead.
Well, it was third time looking for the first 4 points. They've clearly targeted passing the ball to the right wing, The two previous occasions there were mistakes made, but on this occasion they got it there quickly enough, and then it was a superb finish. He still had Chris Atkin to beat, kept his feet inside the field of play, and was very happy when he jumped up there. I think that's a massive boost. So much work gone into this Toronto venture for many people. They put their hearts and souls, massive passion behind, many people behind it, and they'll be pleased here now to take the lead against a Super League outfit.
Ashton Sims crashes forward again into collision with Scruton and Greenwood. Stanley. Toronto on the right-hand side again. Dixon. Mulhern with the tackle alongside Scruton again. Bezik's pass. There's three in there for Hull Kingston Rovers this time. Joel Tompkins among them. Toronto move into that Hull Kingston Rovers half of the field. McCrone with the kick. Turns Quinlan around. Immediately, Blake Wallace in his face to affect the tackle.
Quite content just to turn Hull KR around, kick it into the corner. And going short side here, it cuts down the options really for Craig Hall. Makes it easier for Toronto to defend this next play.
Well, they set themselves a goal of the number of times that they can force their opponents to start a set with inside their own 20, and they're doing that regularly here now. Containing their opponents, they'll be pleased with how that's gone after scoring points.
Certainly commanded the territory in this opening 13.5 minutes, but that's a good break from Quinlan and an important tackle from Jake Emmett there. Play the ball is quick, and Maguire drills the ball down field, and O'Brien in a good position to start the counter, and then a huge hit from Danny Tickle.
Wow, haven't we seen some shots in this game? Danny Tickle on Gareth O'Brien. When he's returning that ball, he's trying to spot someone who maybe is a bit smaller than Danny Tickle, and he picked him straight out.
Caton Brown evades one, can't get through Scruton's tackle. Dixon over halfway. Bezic. This is Ashton Sims now. Cruises into the challenge there of Tickle again. In safety first. The ball drilled over to that far side.
Then coming into this game, obviously a lot of pressure would be on Danny Maguire. He's played in some big games, some of the biggest games in the likes of Super League, Grand Finals, Challenge Cup Finals for Leeds Rhinos. And you look at the opposites in Josh McCrone and Blake Wallace, but probably the man for me, who I think pulls the strings for this Toronto side, who the fans are certainly having a good time, is Bob Bezic. I think he's the best hooker outside of Super League. We've got some great hookers in Super League. We talked about Paul McShane and Darryl Clark last night, along with James Roby, but Bob Bezic is a player that really does cause oppositions a lot of problems.
So much experience with the likes of Wigan and Widnes, Halifax and Lee, of course. The Irish international Bob Bezic.
Penalty there, didn't they? Hull KR kept the ball in the scrum. Their opponents broke too quickly, and it's an easy way for the Rovers to get out to their own half of the field. I want to say one thing about the Toronto side last week. They didn't run at an even pace. Their first half performance was faster, harder. They looked fitter and stronger than their opponents. But in my opinion, they tired in that second period, and they were very desperate really for that final hooter to sound. They've started hard. They've gone early here in this match. But you just saw that size of that scrum here. Some elements of fatigue. 2 penalties conceded. Always a sign that maybe your side are struggling a little bit with that, and they've now been marched from one end of the field in retreat back to their own.
Poor penalty really from Ashton Sims to just step into the ruck then and just have his foot around where the man is about to play the ball.
Great chance then for Hull Kingston Rovers to get back into this game and trouble the scoreboard themselves in the shape of Mulhern, who takes that first carry. Scruton. Emmett and Sims with the tackle. That was Tommy Lee. And then Greenwood. Chase Stanley for company alongside Dixon there. Atkin.
Oh, brilliant.
On the short side, and Craig Hall just couldn't take that ball in. How he would have loved to have scored against his former club.
I've seen Junior Vai set up some sensational tries this year. He's got magical feet here. You see he just tries to step on the opposite side of his centre and bring in the winger. He does it, achieves it. The pass just behind Hall. He can't take it in.
League One Player of the Year for Toronto last year. A leading point scorer with 442 over 25 games, and in fact they're only ever present as well. Craig Hall.
And both coaches would have done the homework, and Vai would have been on Toronto's tip sheet on a fast pitch, 3G pitch, what they're playing on here. Got some speed, got some skill.
Emmett with that carry, one-handed pick-up from Bezic.
Good bung by Patterson there. They needed something, didn't they, to spark him up in this set.
Patterson appearing in his 4th straight qualifying series with a 3rd different club. Lee in 16 and 17 after Salford 3 years ago. Good ball, finds O'Brien. O'Brien finds Stanley, and Stanley has Rawsthorners outside. Taking on Vai this time. Can he stay in the field of play?
Well, that's a good battle over there, isn't it? Between Chase Stanley and Vai. And every time the ball's shifted, they look like they've got some speed out wide, Toronto. Rawsthorn just couldn't keep in the field of play then. He was manhandled by the Hull KR defenders.
As the game continues the way we've seen it for the first 18, 90 minutes, he's going to get a few more runs, Nick Rawsthorn. They seem very obsessed, don't they, with passing the ball out to their right wing. They've obviously scored the first try going that way. Fascinating battle, as you say, on a faster running surface. It will suit the speedsters if they're given possession.
Played at a fast pace as well this game. See the players taking in the water. Want to make sure that they control the sets. 6 every time they have the ball. Make sure they discipline when they haven't got the ball.
.25 degrees forecast for Toronto. The crowd lift again as Hull Kingston Rovers make the error.
Well, they know with Hull KR making the error in their own half, it certainly does help this Toronto side. They've got the freedom to play. Paul Rowley and Simon Finnegan, the coaches over in Toronto, they just say, you go out there, you play what's in front of you. If you see something, you take it. If you make a mistake, you've got to make sure that your defence is ready, because this Hull KR side, Tommy Lee, they've got enough players that will cause some problems themselves.
Good opportunity then for Toronto to extend this lead as we approach the second quarter of this match. Gary Wheeler spent the bulk of his career with St Helens. That's Patterson again, spinning into the waiting arms of Danny Maguire. Bezic. That's Wallace. Emmett. Lee comes up with the tackle. Ashton Sims. Bezic. Blake Wallace gets the ball at the line again. Gets the ball brilliantly away for O'Brien. It's an important tackle from Quinlan. Still got one to hold out though. Wallace again. Puts boot to ball, possibly looking for the post, but it's a great counter, and it's Quinlan who's in the clear. Adam Quinlan against Mason Caton Brown. Caton Brown is quick. He gets the ball brilliantly away though. And it's going to be a try for Junior Vai. Hull Kingston Rovers go the length of the field to open their account in Toronto. Toronto looked threatening at one end and then concede their first try at the other.
Well, I said earlier that Hull are an entertaining team, and this is a perfect example of that. Adam Quinlan has been impressive for the Rovers this year. He doesn't quite have enough pace to go the length of the field, but he has a presence of mind to throw a pass backwards to his teammate. 3 men there, all hovering around when that ball fell down from the sky, and it fell into the arms of Junior Vai. He was delighted. Look, Mason Caton-Brown's done his best. He's closed down the play, but he's forced to ground. Craig Hall celebrates. He knows, alongside Chris Atkin, that his side needed something there. It's been a hard opening 20 minutes, and now they should be level with a conversion, a mere formality.
Junior Vai, of course, a United States international. On the mark in Canada. Danny Tickle has the chance to improve that try from Junior Vai and level things in Toronto.
You think this would be an easy kick for Danny Tickle? He'll take his time.
Two more points from the boot of Danny Tickle, 6 points apiece.
I do like teams that can attack. And when you look at Hull KR and Adam Quinlan's effort, then they're not afraid to throw the ball around. But when he throws that ball over his shoulder, he knows, like Phil said, there's 3 players pushing up. They did ever so well. 1 second they're focusing on what's going to happen from Toronto, defending their own try line. Then in a split second, they've got to make sure that they push up with Adam Quinlan. And it's a good team effort, that try.
O'Brien's restart. And 3 immediately in the tackle, led by Dixon there for Toronto Wolfpack. Brings down Mulhern. This is Scruton now. Faced by Emmett and Bezic. Tommy Lee. Dropped off by Maguire. Lussick in there. Tompkins holds on.
Tommy Lee in this set of 6, he's just trying to keep it nice and tight. Look, you can see them talking to the forwards, gives it Rob Mulhern here. They're not passing the ball around, they're keeping it nice and tight, not really moving away from where the ball's played.
Maguire goes to the air. Bounces awkwardly. Come up though for Toronto. There's an offside in there.
Well, James Child gives the penalty away for offside, just explaining to Danny Maguire what that penalty's for. And Gareth O'Brien not wasting any time now, kicks it out of the field of play. Gets an extra 25 metres, valuable metres as well.
Toronto Wolfpack then in a good part of the field and in possession again. Looking to retake the advantage. That was Emmett who gets the ball away.
And this is Sidlow, isn't it? And the challenge for Emmett and Sidlow is to play at the pace that their opening props played for. 20 minutes or so.
Bezic's pass. Emmett now. That was Bezic again, manages to flick the ball away. McCrone. And now Buchanan. Bezic again. Again to the right-hand side, it's been picked off. And Craig Hall has space in front of him. Wallace will chase, but no one will catch Craig Hall. And this will be a very much appreciated try from Craig Hall against his former employers. Doesn't really celebrate, but he will have enjoyed that moment. Took the ball street clear, and Craig Hall puts Hull Kingston Rovers in the lead for the first time.
Well, the last 2 efforts from Hull KR just show what speed they've got out wide. Craig Hall, knowing that he's got the pace to get down the other end of the field. Adam Quinlan, when he managed to pick the ball up from a kick, he went the full length before giving it to Vai. And again, you take your chances, you maybe overplay, and you show your hand. You throw a ball like that, and you've got to make sure that you're switched on in case it doesn't come off. one of the quickest players on the pitch, Craig Hall, and Toronto know all about him, his strengths, his weaknesses, and that's one of his strengths.
Well, you wonder now, after 25 minutes of attacking Craig Hall's side of the field and not really having that much joy, they did score one try there, whether they will alternate, really. I mean, he's clearly one of the best players at intercepting. He's a risk taker. He'll come in for those passes. But the vast majority of Toronto's attack has been passing the ball out to that right wing for the Toronto side, running around Craig Hall.
Do you think it's probably because of Chase Stanley, one of the biggest attacking threats that they may have out wide?
I'm not sure. I mean, we've not seen Joe Wardle make a tackle on the other side of the field for Hull KR. They've not tested him yet. This is a test now for Danny Tickle, an excellent goal kicker. Is he 35 years of age now? Amazing career that he's had. Consistent goal kicker since the days he started at Halifax.
Yeah, 35, Danny Tickle, and this attempt far harder than his first from right in front of the posts. Same result though. Hull Kingston Rovers go out to a 12-6 lead. Craig Hall with his 4th in 3 games since joining Rovers again from late. It's been sensational.
Well, he doesn't panic when he's outnumbered. He just puts himself in between the 2 attackers and hopes for the best. Jumps high. That's a nice piece of skill to catch the ball under pressure. Relaxed running action brings him closer to the goalpost. Helps that kick for his teammate Danny Tickle. And from 6-0 down, the 6-12 in very little time at all.
2 tries in 5 minutes, in fact, for Hull Kingston Rovers, and so some problems for the Wolfpack. It's 3 in the tackle, though, immediately. The appetite is there to defend, and Buchanan in there, Stidlow in there. Mulhern not happy.
Well, he's saying that they lost the ball. They were appealing, so the referee appears to have blown a penalty. Maybe said the ball's been stripped out at that point.
Ball steal the verdict, like you say, Phil, yeah.
Rob Mulhern will be relieved, though. You're never certain which way those decisions could go. He's going to have to hold on to it the next time he gets it. Stidlow in the face there, Greenwood. He always likes to offload if he can, but contains himself.
Was looking for a moment to promote the ball there as punch
penalty,
is there.
Right, punch thrown.
Yeah, no, I think it was a slap in the face from Buchanan, wasn't it?
Yeah, still, he's got to be penalised.
Yeah, well, he's been penalised now. James Child just trying to take the sting out of this game.
Sorry, Jack. Yeah. Well, I can't play after that situation.
Pulling both players in. Listen to the referee.
You don't need it, all right? That'll be okay.
I don't think we've seen the last of this battle, James Greenwood. Obviously, they've said something, then the push in the face or on the neck, and then the reaction.
It could be 6-18 here, couldn't it? Penalty. Some fatigue setting in for the Toronto team in defensive efforts. Vaivai runs at the line.
After a bright start for Toronto Wolfpack, they're in danger of conceding a 3rd try in quick succession here as Maguire brings the ball to the right-hand side.
Good ball and good speed as well. A lot of movement then from Hull KR when the ball was shifted.
Here he is, Joe Wardle. We've seen him, he's there. First big touch of the ball.
Important tackle.
Oh, he's lost it, knocked on. Terrible play of the ball. He's waited all that time for his big run.
Well, he is a big, powerful man, isn't he, Joe Wardle? And in his urgency to get up and play that ball quick, knowing that he had Toronto on the back foot, he makes the mistake, just fumbles the ball, and he can't play it cleanly.
On your line, Joe.
Toronto looking to make it 3rd time lucky against Super League opponents. They lost in the Cup away at Salford back in 2017 and at Warrington last year. Need to get something to get back into this game. Gary Wheeler, though, is shut down comfortably by Tompkins there. That was a big hit. Mason Caton-Brown now moves in field into the tackle there of Tommy Lee.
Oh, the players in the red jerseys now are hunting, aren't they? Look at the line speed here. Good shot up top from Ben Kavanagh, just on the field now. They've got a big bench. Hull KR, Danny Tickle, Ben Kavanagh involved in that play.
Hull Kingston Rovers looking to make the most of momentum swinging in their favour as Buchanan takes it forward now for the Wolfpack. This one will be the last for Paul Rowley's side, though. Managed to get the kick away. Too strong.
7 tackles here now for Hull KR as they just get behind the play.
And what's interesting really is Hull KR then were moving as quickly as they were at the start of the match. Can the Toronto team move in attack and defence as fast as they were in the first 10 minutes as they're going to have to do in the last 10 minutes? They seem to have slowed down. They've not been used to playing at fast games for 80-minute periods in a lower league. This is their challenge now. Can they go with that intensity for the full duration of this first half?
Hull Kingston Rovers opened their qualifiers campaign with a 28-10 home loss last week, of course, against a Red Devils side they'd already beaten 52-22.
That's play on that.
Poor offload by Joel Tompkins, wasn't it?
Loose offload. Mason Cairn-Brown, he's the first player to react. They get the penalty now. The fans go wild here, knowing that they need a try before half-time, really. Looking to go out the back. Then they hit the lead runner. Joel Tompkins then tries to offload the ball. Nobody with him as well. It was a blind offload. And Mason Cairn-Brown gets that ball okay.
And a great chance now for Toronto to level things up. Half an hour gone. Decibel levels rise around the Lamport Stadium. Jake Emmett roared on. Bezic. Just a couple of metres away. Tackles in the bank for Toronto. Wallace. Short, straight ball. That's Patterson. Will eventually play it for Bezic. Some momentum lost there. The ball filtered out to Buchanan. It's via Sidlow. Last chance, Bezic. Right-hand side, short ball from McCrone. And it's somehow got back to O'Brien. He puts a kick in, spilled by Junior Vaivai.
Oh, they get another set of 6 here now. They did ever so well, really. Hull KR were shooting off the line, knowing it was the last play, trying to close down what Toronto were trying to put on.
Yeah, the Wolfpack mixing it up, the power play on the last one. And then they kept the ball alive, the kick went through. Hull KR desperate now to survive another set. They almost need to form this scrum quicker, I think. I don't know why they're content to allow their opponents here now to take a breather and recover before they have to defend. Form your scrum and get going.
They need to make the most of this momentum. Toronto trailing on the scoreboard.
Hey, come on, it's not a timeout.
6 points the difference. Worked out to Wallace. Wallace puts a step on. Tompkins shuts that play down alongside Mulhern. That was important.
There's a problem here with him, Blake Wallace. Just about says the players start to get tired, maybe just before half-time. He uses that explosive step of his. It could cause some problems, but he looks like he's in some problems here himself. When he goes down, just seems to hit his head on the ground. That's the problem. Paul Rowley wouldn't want to be losing one of his star playmakers. Joel Tompkins was aware of the threat, aware of the dangers, but you can see the contact with the floor as soon as he slammed to the ground. And that's got to hurt.
Can hit sensational form. Blake Wallace ended campaign last year with 10 tries in 7 games. Hat-tricks against Lee and Batley.
Well, is it head assessment he's probably going to need to leave the field for? They lost 2 backs last week to injury during the game. Might have lost one here temporarily. His head does ricochet, doesn't it, off the ground. So a reshuffle of the team, I think, again for the Toronto side.
Already without Ryan Briley here.
That's a heavy challenge, that, when he hits the ground, isn't it? With Andy Ackers on the bench, the ex-London hooker, he could come on. Maybe Bob Bezic could go into the half-backs. Played there as a youngster.
To play the ball, isn't it? He's given a penalty.
We're hearing that incident is on report. So maybe some more
Dangerous
to come.
tackle then. Penalty for the dangerous tackle.
Bezic gets the ball away. Back in field for Wheeler. What's the Wolfpack direction like in the absence of Blake Wallace? Bezic again. Now Buchanan. Buchanan just trying to use his strength. Just a couple of metres short. Great opportunity now for Toronto. Short ball for Dixon. Masoi with an important tackle. Bezic with some deception for Sidlow.
Well, they've held in all the defenders in the central position. Now they go wide.
Bezic gets it, gives it some air, and it's Rawsthorne who picks up on the bounce. Can't get the acceleration necessary, though. A knock on.
Well, the fans seem to rise every time that it's those close little plays around the play of the ball, the forwards crashing onto the ball. But realistically, they've got to open them players up. You don't get many chances down there, Hull KR's line, and to just have like 3 drives and then you swing it wide for one play. You've got to ask more questions than that.
Hull Kingston Rovers looking to extend their current 3-match unbeaten away sequence. They beat Neighbours Hull for the first time in 3 years, then won at Widnes and then drew at Castleford. In the ascendancy here. 7 to go to the break.
James Donaldson on the field here now. They like to speed it up just as their opponents are tiring. Bring him on with some speed down the centre. Followed up by Ben Crooks.
Really quick play of the ball there from Donaldson. The kick finds Hall. It's still the last, says the referee. And Junior Vaivai hacks on. It's picked up comfortably. And Buchanan launches the counter now for the Wolfpack.
Well, good work from Buchanan. He was sweeper at the back then. I don't think he was expecting to field a kick like that, then the prop forward.
Rawsthorne for Stanley. Over halfway.
He's quick, isn't he? Gets out of dummy half, makes some decent meters. Quick play the ball here as well for Bezic.
Donaldson and Masoi with the tackle then. Emmett will wait. Bezic will play. Wheeler. That's O'Brien. Good tackle from Maguire. Caton Brown. Wheeler hangs on. Kick, though, is straight into Hull Kingston Rovers' possession.
It wasn't the best kick from Gary Wheeler. He was trying to kick the ball off the field, then walk to the scrum, just waste the time.
Comfortable for Joe Wardle.
High tackle. The referee says he's blown his whistle. Sidlow and Bezic high.
Relieving penalty, really, for Hull Kingston Rovers.
I think with a massive 5 minutes coming up here, really important. Both sets of teams, you can tell, they've worked very hard in the heat on a fast surface. But there's a critical 5-minute period here now, and whichever side loses the concentration could really regret it at half-time.
I think Hull KR, all they need to do here is just make sure that they keep it simple and really play out the sets. They're the team that's winning. They're the team that's in front on the scoreboard by 6 points. Puts more pressure on Toronto in the second half then.
Strong run from Donaldson. Tompkins. Now Masoi with some space. Gets the offload away as well. Really important tackle. Buchanan in there. Tommy Lee. Can sense something here, Hull Kingston Rovers, in the latter stage of this first half. Already up by 6 points. Masoi.
Good tackle. Whiting on the field, held a big fella.
Applauded by this Lamport crowd. He went for the one-pointer there. And it's back to one as Wardle takes it forward again.
Chris Atkin going for the 1 point. Jack Buchanan charging that ball down.
And Buchanan with some good defence there as well. Here is Donaldson. Just 5 metres away now, Hull Kingston Rovers. Phil said it could be crucial if they go over here. It could be a massive moment in this game.
Good line by, but a good tackle as well from Stanley. Give the penalty away, they go for 2 points here.
What are we doing, guys?
The speed of which they were playing the ball, and it was just too quick. The last couple of sets then, they've just been in scramble mode, Toronto. Hull KR playing the ball far too quick.
Looking to go 2 scores clear. Just 3 minutes before the interval.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me. Hull KR are the sort of side here now, if they get the breath back from the kick-off, they'll look to attack again here. They'll get one more chance. They'll be fresh. They don't have to defend again here now. They can get themselves back set and look to strike. I know, Terry, you're saying you've got a conservative mind here, but I don't think that's the way that Hull KR think or play. They might be thinking points again here yet before we hear the hooter. And that's assuming that this kick's successful. And I'm glad I don't have to make it, because it's a bit harder than what we probably think.
Is this 2 more points then for Hull Kingston Rovers? Yes. 14 points to 6 now. Craig Hall, the kicker this time.
Well, things going through Toronto's mind now. What do they do? Just before half-time, do they kick short, gift that field position to Hull KR, or do they go long and get through to half-time, knowing that at this stage they're just 8 points behind? It's a real good line, that, from Vai. Chase Stanley all over him. Bit of a high shot as well. Contact with the head. A couple of things to pick from there for the referee, James Child.
It's a game they dare not lose, as we said at the start. Maybe that explains a conservative approach as Hall takes that restart.
Took a bit of a shot then from Adam Sidlow then. Craig Hawley fumbles the ball.
Here we go. Get the scrum formed here. They can stop the clock, and maybe they can get to half-time with something to celebrate. Craig Hall takes it to the tackle. I did think he was hit, doesn't it? There's a collision perhaps with the head at some point there by Adam Sidlow. If in fact the left arm hits him in the jaw, might be a delayed impact here, and at which point I understand why he does lose it as he gets up. He was certainly hit high from that left arm.
Pardon?
Direct contact to the head, Terry. You spotted it immediately.
The reaction from Sidlow, indicative of the adrenaline running through these Wolfpack veins. They really want to get back into this before the break, and this is a great chance now. That was Ackers. Now Buchanan.
Well, most of the half, it's gone to the right winger. Which way will it go now?
Buchanan will play it. And Wheeler. Ackers, can he get over? Andy Ackers.
Oh, he's having a good go, isn't it? 5 plays trying to stop him then.
Patterson. Waste of a play, really. Got more expansive this time, and Wheeler. Lateral run. Wheeler still going, straightens things up. That's going to be the turnover, though. Last chance gone for Toronto.
Well, he's caught in 2 minds then. He's running across, he's looking for a couple of plays to drop underneath him, a couple of plays to punch through some holes. Nobody's really doing that. Gets tackled on the last play. And the more this game goes on, the more that Toronto are behind on the scoreboard, the more they'll start to panic, I think. Not used to being in this position. Said majority of this year, they've had it all their own way.
Good offload. Finds Hall. This is Tompkins now. Tommy Lee. This will be the last players. Maguire just launches the ball. O'Brien is there. He collects successfully. That is the last action of this first half. It's been a nip and tuck battle. Everything we expected it would be in this high stakes.
Before the game, Ben, that Hull KR would win this game by 10 points, and I still think after watching the first 40 minutes that they'll win the game by 10 points. But I'm prepared to be proved wrong, and that's what the Toronto Wolfpack are tasked with doing right now.
Quinlan with the restart for Hull Kingston Rovers there, and Toronto Wolfpack with this first possession of the second half. Buchanan with the first carry.
Andy Acker's there now, asking for a penalty from the referee, saying that the rucks are too slow. Bob Bezic, starting hooker, he's playing in the forwards, bringing the ball away as Jack Buchanan comes up with a strong carry.
Without Blake Wallace, of course, Toronto, so a reshuffle needed.
Nice
good ball though for Dixon.
Yeah, you know, they're taking it to land. They started the first half quickly. They started the second half in a similar fashion. The referee awards a penalty now to the Toronto Wolfpack. Gives them the first touch opportunity, you know, to get close to Rovers' line. Really sort of put on those angles and plays that they were successful and been well known for, really, for the last year or two.
Immediate chance then for Toronto in this second period. Buchanan with the first hit up there, and Ackers scanning the options. Comes back to the right-hand side and gives it to Dixon, and Dixon has the line. So close there. Really important tackle from Masoi. They're camped, though, under those Hull Kingston Rovers posts. They work it quickly to the left-hand side. Is it going to be 6 more tackles? Was that touched by a Hull Kingston Rovers man? Mason Caton-Brown not hanging around to find out. He gets so close.
Well, I'd like to see him give it a bit more ball. We've seen how dangerous is one of my favourites, Mason Caton-Brown. Referee stops the clock. There's an injury over here now on the right side of the field. He walks across to see how, is it Ben Kavanagh down injured? He's just getting some treatment from the Hull KR physio, but Caton-Brown's just 2 metres from the line. Toronto got time here now to set up some players, and Gary Wheeler, with the absence of Blake Wallace, given the task here, isn't he, of playing probably in the standoff role and finding that, being the link between the centre of the field and the width.
I think Ben Kavanagh, he picks up that knock from the fabulous run, the fabulous line from Andrew Dixon. He went close over on the right-hand side, got rid of a few Hull KR players, left the defenders on the floor. The ball goes out to the left, and then Caton-Brown comes up with another punishing run.
A long stopping play, isn't it? A long stop. You just imagine he's going to leave the field here for this length of time for the head injury assessment to take place.
Is it that? It looks like he might have even picked up
eye issue?
Yeah, poke in the eye.
She's tapping the head.
Yeah, there's a sign to the sideline. He's coming off for the test.
Ben Kavanagh, Canadian soil. He faced the United States, of course, with Scotland in the World Cup alongside Tonga, Italy and New Zealand. He will leave the field, and James Child just making sure that that happens, and we can go again with Toronto on the front foot. Wheeler involved, as you say. That was Ackers, though, with the pass. There is Wheeler. O'Brien gets the kick in. It's just too strong.
Well, he knew that he was running out of space then, Gareth O'Brien, and knew that it was the 4th play. So whilst he's running forward, whilst the defence is going backwards, he thinks they'll just kick the ball forward.
But have Rovers taken it over the dead in goal line here? Will this be a goal line dropout? It's a wide passing play with a kick at the end of it. Wheeler, then to O'Brien. He sees the chance to put the ball in behind them. No, Danny McGuire swings at it. I'm not sure from that angle whether he made contact with the ball. Yes, he has. Goal line dropout. Toronto attack again.
So just as they did in the first period, Toronto commanding things early on in this second half, and Mason Caton-Brown takes the ball in. Taken down by a combination there of Mulhern and Mossy Masoi. That was Ackers. Now Sidlow. Ackers wants to quick play the ball. It was Donaldson, the tackler. Short ball for Dixon. Really important contribution there from Chris Atkin. They're still going, though, in the shape of Josh McCrone. And the skipper gets his side to within 5 metres of that Hull Kingston Rovers line. All momentum with Toronto, and Dixon gets over. First try, second half for the Wolfpack. They struck first in the first period as well. And now Andrew Dixon gets Toronto right back into this game. His second try in the qualifiers. He got the match winner at Halifax last Sunday. And now he puts his side back into contention on home soil.
Well, he's looked dangerous in this second half, Andrew Dixon. Come up with 3 half breaks, and now he's come up with a try as well. Simple crash over. And it's the effort, it's the work from the pivots around him. Josh McCrone drops the ball off to Bob Bezic. Andy Ackers shapes to go one side. He's already told Andrew Dixon he's coming back towards him. There's a man out the back. Vai looks at Gareth O'Brien, which enables Andrew Dixon to get a one-on-one with the fullback Adam Quinlan. Good try, and just what they needed.
Just 4 minutes gone second half. They trail by 4 with a kick to come. Career best 7 tries in 15 Toronto appearances last year, Andrew Dixon. Grand finalist with St Helens 7 years ago. Gareth O'Brien looking to cut the deficit to 2. The flags go up.
Well, Dixon has thrown himself like a human javelin on several occasions in the opening parts of this first half. On that final run there, he manages to evade the tackle from Quinlan. They're assuming too much, aren't they, that the ball's not going to him. A nice movement, really, from Andy Ackers as well. Looks to pass it one way, turns and passes to the other side. And that 4 points there, certainly giving a boost to the home fans and the home team.
Should get the ball back as well as Quinlan restarts. Collected comfortably. Then Patterson brings it back for the Wolfpack.
Nice first carry from Patterson. Richard Whiting goes off now. Hasn't he been a good servant to rugby league over the years?
250 plus appearances in the black and white of Hull. He will relish this opposition as well, Richard Whiting. And the Ackers just filters the ball into the path of Bezic. Both hookers combining now. Trapped by Donaldson. Some nice movement to the right-hand side. A good dummy as well, and maybe something for Chase Stanley. Manages to flick the ball out as well. And Rawsthorne is there.
It's good speed from Toronto when they shift that ball. Look clinical. And another good ball here.
McCrone gives it some air. Sidlow. McCrone again. Now Wheeler. Wheeler's pass touched by a Hull Kingston Rovers hand, and they're going to get the ball back in a minute.
Well, they're not afraid to throw the ball at the line. And like we saw in the first half, it could be dangerous and you could lead yourself wide open with an intercept. But they still do that. It has always been in their DNA to play like that at the line with pace. Runners out the back. You've got an option of hitting the lead runner, an option hitting the man out the back, or even take them on yourself. And with no Blake Wallace on the field, and looks like he's failed his head test, there's more pressure on Josh McCrone to guide this Toronto side around the field.
Yeah, he does need to guide, and then Gareth O'Brien, the number 31, needs to strike. You saw the speed with which he brought the ball in that attacking sweep over to the right side for the Toronto team. Then they went back to the left. Really want to stretch the Hull KR team, make them defend every centimetre of the pitch from one side to the other. And hope that they've got enough speed and strength like the Dixon showed to score. 6 more players here for Toronto, smiling with the referee, but they need to be smiling when they put the ball over this line in the next 60 seconds.
Looks a very friendly scrum, doesn't it?
Mason Caton-Brown. Andy Ackers, urgency from him. That was a short ball from McCrone. Chase Stanley almost over the line. The ball comes free.
Well, there was hands in there from Chris Atkin. He was picked out by Chase Stanley and drove backwards. Meters after contact was good from the centre then on that occasion.
Yeah, they've shouted they're going to take the 2. It's a difficult kick, but one they're electing to go for here now. That instruction came from somebody towards the back of the field, or maybe around the halfway line. And they all walk back here now. They take a rest, they give the ball to Gareth O'Brien, the kicker, and hope that he can draw them level here now, early into this second period.
After this, Toronto host London next Saturday. Then they go to Salford. And then on home soil against Toulouse. As for Hull Kingston Rovers, they've got a massive game at Headingley next weekend before home clashes with Halifax and with London. There's the angle that Gareth O'Brien has. This to tie the scores. No problem, 14 points apiece for 6 gone second half.
Who can hold the nerve here? Now, both coaches have got a lot of responsibility. Obviously, the interchange is going to be so important in this game, rotating those big men around the middle. The Toronto fans are going wild. They're starting to believe that they could be playing in Super League next year. Here's the penalty. Chase Stanley's looked strong every time he's had the ball. There's hands in there from halfback Chris Atkin, the number 24. They get the penalty.
Well, the Canadian fans might not know the rules, but they can still look at the scoreboard. They know their team, almost 50 minutes into this match, are doing quite well.
Good shot up top from, I think it was Donaldson on Sidlaw.
Massoy in there as well. Salford already won today to make it 2 from 2. Toronto looking to join them at the top of the qualifiers table. Kept Halifax scoreless last weekend, and now level with Hull Kingston Rovers as Dixon, the latest try scorer, plays it for Ackers. He gets into that Hull Kingston Rovers half of the field.
He looks busy, doesn't he, Andy Ackers?
It's Bezic. The kick came from O'Brien. Real contest as well. An offside decision and penalty coming up for Toronto.
They let the ball bounce, and you've got to make sure if the ball goes up in the air, somebody's got to take it. One of your backfield players has got to take it. And then when it bounces, it's going everywhere, and stood in an offside position, Greenwood. They get the penalty right in front of the sticks. Will they go for 2 points here again? Yes, they will. So 2 minutes to go, they were behind on the scoreboard. This could put them 2 points in front.
Right decision for you, Phil, take the 2 again?
Probably yes, I agree now at this point. Seems the friendliest qualifiers game I've ever seen, that there's so many players talking to one another, smiling, and can't quite work out the atmosphere that's taking place there, but can work out the scoreboard, and when he kicks this over, Toronto and their fans will be delighted.
Gareth O'Brien kicked 3 from 3 at Halifax last week. Two more points surely will follow in a moment. His 4th successful kick of the afternoon. 16-14 now, Toronto lead.
Well, there's always the potential for trouble if you let the rugby league ball bounce, and neither Wardle nor Quinlan could get close enough to that. In some ways, they might see themselves lucky to get away with it. They've only conceded 2, because it could have been a much worse situation, but the ball's gone forward from one Rovers player into the arms of another one, and that's the reason why they've just conceded 2 more points. Important kick-off here now from Craig Hall. Let's see what they can do in these 6 tackles.
Take from Caton Brown. Sidlow crashes in. This is
Good drive. Big drive. That
Patterson it was.
Looks like he's hurt as well then.
Signalling to the bench. He will relish this clash, like you say, Terry. 7 tries in 17 Hull Kicks and Rovers appearances back in 2013 for Corey Patterson. Meanwhile, this is Darcy Lussick now.
Good shot up top on Sidlow then from Asoi. And this is another good set of 6 here from Toronto.
O'Brien goes to the air as chance of Wolfpack go around the Lamport Stadium, and Craig Hall, though, trying to cause more pain for his former employers. It's another good run.
But no panic again, is there, from Craig Hall?
Rawsthorne managed to get there and effect the tackle, but they're in a good position now, Rovers, in the shape of Hull Kick, Danny Maguire, I should say.
Need some speed here, Chris Atkin now telling his outside players what he's after.
Atkin for Greenwood. That's Mossy Masoi. Tommy Lee. That was Atkin. Quinlan. Flick back from Ben Crooks. Tackle came in from Whiting. Maguire. Atkins showed it. Give it to Junior Vaivai, and Vaivai steps back the other way. It's elusive feet from Junior Vaivai. Has he got the strength to get over? Held up, says James Child.
Well, good defence from Vaivai. He beats a couple of plays, then he spots Gareth O'Brien. He thinks, I'm not going to use my footwork, I'm going to go straight over the top of you. He takes on the Toronto fullback. Well, then there's players in support. Look at this. Bang, bang. Gets rid of those plays, then straight at Adam O'Brien. And he did well then, helped out by a number of his teammates.
Kick from Maguire. Taken brilliantly by Mason Caton Brown. Has to start though on the 20-metre line.
Referee said he took it in goal, didn't he? So he's gone to the middle of the pitch on the 20-metre line to restart. And if anything, for the last 5 or almost 10 minutes, the pace and the flow of the game has been with the home team. Playing the ball quicker, they've had some good possession, they've had some penalties, and Andy Ackers has got his teammates rolling downfield quickly.
Inside the last half hour, 2 points the difference. Nothing really to choose between these two sides, and so much at stake as Ackers gets the ball wide. That was Buchanan. Nice ball for O'Brien. Big hit, though, coming in from Vaivai.
Another penalty, yeah.
Lifted the legs.
Will they take the 2 points again here? The last 2 occasions, they've had penalties down there, Hull KR's line. They've opted to take the 2 points.
Well, he pulled out of the tackle, didn't he, for the safety's sake. That's good, but the penalty goes and they offload it again.
Brilliant offload from Ashton Sims, and Darcy Lussick on the back of that. Joel Tompkins, Danny Maguire with the tackle. Ackers wants a quick play of the ball. It's not. Eventually gets the ball to Wheeler, and Wheeler trying to slip the net. Lussick now.
Well, Hull KR clinging on here, and maybe clinging on to the Super League survival.
Tackles in the bank. Wheeler, though, tackled brilliantly by Quinlan. Shot out to the line and made that hit. Ackers again. Now Whiting. Whiting throws a dummy. Whiting trying to use his strength. Tompkins again with a tackle. Untidy play the ball. Some space, though, for Andy Ackers.
Oh, he thought he spotted some space then, didn't he? Andy Ackers, he goes on the last tackle. Thinks that there's a Hull KR player that's not quite ready. Switched off. And you know, you championship sides normally struggle when they play against Super League sides for the speed of the game, but because Toronto, every week they have to raise the game because everyone always wants to beat them. They're used to playing at a high tempo, so this pace doesn't bother them.
First time they've hosted Super League opposition, then up by 2. Real nip and tuck match though, as Buchanan puts the tackle in.
Wow.
Looking at, oh, it's Patterson, I beg your pardon, that time. And a penalty coming up for Hull Kingston Rovers.
Patterson over the top of James Donaldson. Struggling at the minute, holds his foot straight away. He goes in behind the play of the ball, he pushes Clarkson out, he wants to have a run. Oh, he gets bent over. Just gets his legs caught underneath Corey Patterson, look. Goes over the top and just trapped underneath. He's had some shocking injuries over his career, James Donaldson.
Absolutely one of the unluckiest players in the game. He's in his 11th season, but just 160 appearances for James Donaldson. Let's hope he can continue and there's no lasting damage there. Meanwhile, Rovers continue forward. Mulhern plays it.
Oh, forward pass from Chris Clarkson, who's just come on to fulfill that hooking role or dummy half position. Atkins moved away from there, but on his third pass, he's got it completely wrong here, and they've taken all the pressure off the Toronto team.
Ben Cavan and Ashton Sims having a word.
Played in the back row, Chris Clarkson is asked to do a job that's really unfamiliar to him. And when he gets the out, he just stands up, just can't quite get the timing right. And then sat on the bench, and obviously when you take Tommy Lee off, it weakens you in that position.
Good tackle, that's what you need, isn't it? When your best attackers want to play like your best defenders, with Danny Maguire putting that effort in, it will lift the rest of his team.
Here is Whiting. First carry came from Mason Caton-Brown. O'Brien for Sims.
They're getting into a battle, Toronto, and they play best when they just play off the cuff and go forward, tip the ball on, whether it be short or long. They look better when they move the ball.
Buchanan plays it for Bezic. That was McCrone. Good ball via O'Brien to Stanley. Taken down by Vaivai. Last one coming up for the Wolfpack. So O'Brien, it's Bezic in fact who just drills the ball into touch on this near side. Good set though.
Well, Bob Bezic knowing that they've got Hull KR where they want them. A couple of good strong challenges from the likes of Ashton Sims and the rest of his forwards. See Scruton falling off the tackle. Bob Bezic going from dummy half. He is always a moving dummy half. I said before, so clever, very intelligent, knows what to do, kicks the ball out of field, knowing that he's going to buy some time here in the right area of the field as well.
Atkin fed the scrum and Toronto looking to hunt the mistake. Buchanan comes in with the tackle.
Oh, bruising defence there from Sims on Scruton.
Huge hit there. It's been a feature of this game as Joel Tompkins gets away from one, can't get away from Whiting though. And now Crooks. Good carry. Ben Crooks already grabbed doubles twice against Toronto this season in League colours, here and in Blackpool. Maguire launches high. And that's brilliant from O'Brien.
Takes one as well then from Danny Tickle. Well, as soon as he catches that ball, Gareth O'Brien, he knows that there's a Hull KR player in the vicinity around him, and he tries to get to ground as quick as possible. But the first objective from him that's going through his mind is, I've got to make sure to pounce this. Don't want to make a mistake, and as he's going to go down, he cops a high shot from Danny Tickle. He's a brave player. And he knows he's going to get whacked. He just can't get down quick enough.
After Toronto's performance in the Challenge Cup, people were worried about their discipline and would they concede too many penalties to give themselves a chance in this qualifiers tournament. Well, it's certainly not been a problem in this second half, has it? All penalties, so many here now, conceded by the Hull KR team. They're running backwards towards their own line. They stood waiting for their opponents to kick goals.
And that kick from Gareth O'Brien gives his side another great chance in really decent territory as we approach the hour mark. 2 points the difference. McCrone, short ball. Chase Stanley now.
Oh, looking to get that ball away as well.
Jake Emmett. Bezic finds Wheeler, and Wheeler almost away. Gives it to Bezic again. McCrone. Patterson assesses the options, put down by Tompkins. Chris Clarkson in there as well. Sims. That was McCrone, this is Lussick. And Lussick still going. Takes 3 of them to bring him to ground. Tickle among them. Greenwood as well.
Oh, an ambitious pass, wasn't it? Thrown so quickly at Josh McCrone, he couldn't take it. He was moving at almost full speed himself. And James Greenwood will be delighted there that they didn't concede again. So many of the Toronto Wolfpack moving quickly around the rope, but the pass wouldn't find the man on the last play. And it's the task now of Scruton and Coe to move upfield. You know, in its simplest form, rugby league's a game of gaining ground in possession. And in this second half, for 19 minutes, Toronto have been far better than the visitors.
Clarkson. The tickle. Good ball for Greenwood. He gets the ball brilliantly away for Quinlan. Stays alive on the inside, and Chris Atkin. And Atkin goes in for Hull Kingston Rovers. 30 seconds short to the hour mark, and Rovers are back in front. An electric attack from Tim Sheens' side, and Chris Atkin on the end of it.
Well, they've been struggling up to that point, haven't they? The points have come from Toronto in the second half, and it's a good line, but what about this for an offload? As he's going down to the ground, good play from Quinlan. Chris Atkin, who's been in top form this year, named in the England Knights programme. Good play again at the line. Atkin with a lovely ball to Greenwood, but what about that for an offload? And then it's all about timing. Where's the fullback? Quinlan, he pulls in Gareth O'Brien and then offloads the ball at the right time. And that man, Chris Atkin, goes in for what is a much-needed score for Hull KR.
Lead changes hands for the 3rd time this evening. Chris Atkin featured the last 25 League and Cup, having missed the opening defeat at Wakefield. Of course, no Todd Carney. Missing with a calf problem for this one. Chris Atkin strikes in his absence, the former England Students International. 18-16 now, Hull Kingston Rovers. Absorbing contest in Toronto. Last tasted defeat away from home over 2 months ago, Tim Sheens' side. They lost 26-4 at Langtree Park. Back on the right side of the scoreline as Danny Tickle attempts to open up a 4-point lead. $20 points to 16. Rovers lead.
Well, the visitors haven't enjoyed the game that much since half-time, but they've got enough players with enough experience to show a degree of patience. When their opponents are on top, you just have to ride it, hang in there until the tide turns. And it does turn on the back of a fantastic offload from James Greenwood. He's always had the confidence, if he can, to promote the ball to a player alongside him. He delivers it in a fashion that allows them to strike from deep again. Feature of this game have been the 2 long-range tries that Hull KR have pulled off. It's the reason why they're just narrowly ahead.
Craig Hall. Dixon with the tackle alongside Ashton Sims. Junior Vivai now.
There's a lot of expectation on both of these sides. Everyone's looking at the Super League side. Can they come away with the 2 points? The home fans hoping that Toronto can nail the 2 points, but good carry here. And runs like that from Ben Cameron will certainly help Hull KR.
Maguire holds on initially, thought he saw a gap, shut down by Whiting and Patterson. Clarkson again, back on the inside from Quinlan. Back to one, says the referee, James Child. Here is Clarkson, marauding full, and Clarkson goes over for Hull Kingston Rovers. Back-to-back tries for Tim Sheens' men have opened up real daylight for the first time in this one, and Chris Clarkson over for a vital try in Toronto.
Well, they ran repeatedly, didn't they, down the middle of the field, and then towards the end of the set, they looked again for that inside pass. An element of luck has gone their way. They've had an interception try, and then a knockdown here with a repeated set. And he was just too quick, wasn't he? Chris Clarkson onto it in the middle of the field. Fit, athletic player, pushes through Gareth O'Brien, who tries to strip the ball, but it's another vital 4 points in the corner for the visitors today.
They'll be disappointed with that effort, Gareth O'Brien. Saw him earlier on in the second half, stopped Junior Vai when he tried to crash over the top of him. And Chris Clarkson comes up with a much-needed try. It was all going Toronto's way in the opening 19 minutes of this second half. They were the team that were playing on the front foot. And then Hull KR have come up with 2 tries in the last 4 minutes that might really wobble Toronto.
Well, they struck twice in 5 minutes in that first period, and 2 tries in 3 after half-time have put Hull Kingston Rovers in real control now. Chris Clarkson, 4th successive year in the qualifiers, having played for Widnes back in 2015 and with Rovers in the last 3.
Danny Tickle knows how important every single point could be in this match. He's taken a long time here to get his breath back, to set himself, bring his heart rate down as much as he possibly can, to give himself the best chance of converting here. Left foot kicker from almost the far right touchline. And like the angle, we saw what he did in the first half. And he knows the significance of this would take it from 8 to 10 points. And make it a far more difficult task then for Toronto Wolfpack.
It's a brilliant kick from Danny Tickle. The crowd did their best to put him off, but Hull Kingston Rovers now have a 10-point lead. It's 26-16.
Well, you saw the hand just touched the ball. Richard Whiting, that's the reason why the referee's waving his hand. It's 6 more plays, and with 10 metres out, maybe Gareth O'Brien would have elected to probably approach that in a different way if he was given a second chance. Couldn't knock the ball free and couldn't pull the man to ground.
15 minutes or so to go as Craig Hall takes possession for Hull Kingston Rovers. They'll be enjoying this more than most. Former Wolfpack man.
Interesting to see what Toronto have got now, especially between the ears. The belief that they've got, although they've got an awful lot of desire, they won't throw the game in, but they've got to come up with the correct plays and slow this Hull KR side down now.
Joel Tompkins in possession. Brother Sam already a winner with Wigan this afternoon on Sky Sports. That was Tickle who played the ball. A high kick testing O'Brien again. It's a good chase as well.
Just moved in the air as well, that kick. It was a dangerous one for Gareth O'Brien. You could just see him. He had to readjust underneath it. Now all of a sudden those couple of tries have really lifted Hull KR.
Chase led by Nick Scruton, and the Wolfpack really struggling to gain ground, gain momentum.
Well, this is where you need to continue to play as a team. Sometimes when you tire inside that last 15 minutes and you know you need points, you try and do it individually, but it's about supporting the man, trying to remember the things that you did in training here that make you dangerous as a team, not as an individual player.
Josh McCrone puts boot to ball. What's the Wolfpack chase like? Quinlan gets away from one, and then cops a high shot, does he?
Yeah, starting to fall off tackles as well, and then Quinlan steps inside. McCrone with a high shot on him. Kicking for distance then, McCrone, when they had the ball, trying to trap Hull KR down near their own line. Wasn't an attacking kick, but it was high in the air and making it a contest. Wanted the distance, wanted to restrict the yardage of Hull KR, but that penalty, that's a gift to Tim Sheens' men.
He never tapped the ball, is what the Toronto side claim, and he's correct. The referee, well, Vaivai said it touched my knee. The referee said, no, you can't go from a penalty to a penalty, so it's a scrum now for the Toronto side. But I was only talking before, and we might see again here whether he does touch the ball with his knee, which is allowed to restart the play. Vaivai just seemed to run on with the ball. That's a terrible mistake here now when you've got control, a 10-point lead, just over 10 to go.
It's a brain explosion, isn't it?
Well, it's a disrespect for the rules, isn't it? I mean, I think we've cut too many of them out, but you don't seem to have to play the ball with your foot anymore. But surely to restart it, we're still following the rules in that regard.
And a coach killer for Tim Sheens. Here is Whiting. 3 around the tackle though. Slowing the play of the ball down. Need momentum, Toronto Wolfpack. Emmett. Here is Bezic. Gets the ball away and it's filtered nicely to Dixon. Bezic for O'Brien. Now McCrone. All wrapped up though by Vaivai and Greenwood. Last chance. Bezic. O'Brien. Brilliantly claimed by Ben Crooks.
Well, he could have waited for that, Ben Crooks, and let one of the Toronto players come down with it, but he wanted to get that ball. He was confident in his own ability to catch that ball without making a mistake, even though there was a number of Toronto players around him.
A loser in the £1 million game with the Leeds Centurions last year, Ben Crooks. Want to avoid that fate again in 2018.
Looked like it was a little knock on them from Vaivai.
Atkin for Maguire. Now Tompkins. Last one. And Maguire, his kick is ricochets, and Mason Caton-Brown in the right place to scoop up possession for the Wolfpack.
Well, tried to take control then, didn't he, Danny Maguire? 11 minutes to go on the clock, wanted to knock the ball off the field. The last thing that Hull KR want now is for Toronto to start upping the tempo of the game.
Well, they need men around the ball, don't they? That's 4 tackles, it's been 4 solo efforts. Gary Wheeler then throws it wide here. Sims, that's the 5th one there. He offloaded at the end of it, and Ackers now goes second phase. But Wheeler is it, who's come up with a mistake.
Look at the reaction from Danny Maguire. As you say, Phil, they maybe needed to throw the ball around, but the pressure that the Hull Kingston Rovers defence was exerting.
I was expecting Toronto to play a bit more than what they have done. They got more into a battle with Hull KR's pack. And they've really turned into each other. The referee just pulling 2 halves together, just having a little quiet word, making them just focus on the game, get through the next just over 10 minutes without any major incidents.
Maguire fed the screw, it's worked back to the short side, and Crooks taken down by Whiting.
It's had to be a penalty, didn't it? He had 2 or 3 pulls. And Hull KR have an opportunity now inside the last 10 minutes should they find another try. I think the gap then becomes too wide for Toronto. They're still alive with 10 points on their board as a deficit, but should that grow to 16, well, I worry that their day here is over. Can Hull KR find the killer blow now in this second round of qualification?
Tickle with the first carry for Tim Sheens' side. Clarkson. Scruton. Maguire held on that time. Under the tackle of Emmett. Clarkson again, Tickle. And there's a gap there for Kavanagh, and Ben Kavanagh's pass.
You know, he's got good footwork, Ben Kavanagh. Got a quick play of the ball as well, but his footwork gets him out of trouble 9 times out of 10. The Scottish international, when your defence isn't moving up and you're rocking back on your heels, you don't want the likes of Ben Kavanagh coming at you.
Well, if Scruton had been able to take that pass, Tim Sheens' blood pressure might have just been able to drop for the final 10 minutes. I think they would have relaxed then and thought, this has been a successful trip, but they still know, with players like Mason Caton-Brown, Gareth O'Brien, Chase Stanley, there's enough speed in the opposition side that they can score and strike from anywhere. He turns the ball back to Scruton, who's about to hurdle Dixon. He can't take in the ball, and he won't make the steeplechase.
I'll be hoping that he's okay, Nick Scruton. Whether it was his pride hurt for dropping the ball in front of the sticks. The physio was on. He thumbs up to the sideline, and he still looks like he's struggling a bit.
Another one familiar with the £1 million game. The winner with Wakefield against Bradford 3 years ago, Nick Scruton. Chase Stanley.
Only could find a way to get Mason Caton-Brown with a real running opportunity rather than the centre of the field and just defenders.
Ackers for Emmett. Time beginning to run out for Toronto. Trail by 10 inside the last 8 minutes. Worked out well though for Sidlow, and he's got Ackers with him. Flings the ball back. Could be something here. This is Darcy Lussick now. He manages to throw the ball. Has it gone forward? It's going to be a penalty for the Wolfpack.
Well, they get a penalty. They wanted to speed the game up. And there was a shoulder charge from one of the Hull KR players on a Toronto player. And it looks exciting when they start throwing the ball around like that. A couple of decent charges from the forwards. Andy Ackers goes through a gap again, turns around looking to offload the ball to a teammate.
Macron. Give it to Sidlow. Ackers now has Dixon for company, and Dixon gets up. Dixon goes again, and Dixon, has he found the line?
He's going to give it.
He's scored again. Andrew Dixon, with 7 minutes or so to go, has scored a huge try, his second for the Toronto Wolfpack. 26-20 kick to come. It's not over yet.
Well, he hit the ball on such a flat line, didn't he? It was a delayed pass to him and then cut through the defence. We'll get to see here now that they get to themselves in the middle part of the field. Adam Sidlow puts them centre field, 20 metres from the line, and then the number 11 here, close to the screen. Just look at the timing of his run and the timing of the pass. Just about legal. It steps inside, bounces up, gets up quickly, and gets over the line. The referee steps inside the goalpost and says, that's 4 more points. They've certainly given their home supporters now something to really get excited about. The first time they've played a Super League side on their own at their own stadium, and with about 6 minutes to go, they're just 6 behind. Kick to come.
Craig Hall about to restart. Kick Kick successful from Gareth O'Brien. 26-22 now. And Mason Caton-Brown takes the ball back for the Wolfpack.
Hasn't he been good in the second half, Andrew Dixon? Started off strongly in the first 5 minutes, scored a try, broke through on a number of occasions, the man of the moment. And yeah, look at him now, trying to throw the ball around. Chris Atkins shooting a line, shutting down on Josh McCrone, the captain.
Quick play the ball out.
Oh, risky offload. And Vaivai comes up with it. What the referee determined here now? Has there been a knock on either way? That's a tough call, isn't it, now for the referee? He puts his arm to Rovers, the visitors.
But Jake Emmett's looking for that man. And he says that Vaivai, when he offloaded the ball, he knocked it on. So a number of things to look at, James Child. A lot of players around. The ball up in the air. Seeing whose hand it comes off.
Anguish on the face, though, of Jake Emmett. It's come up for Hull Kingston Rovers. How crucial could that decision be? Atkin feeds the scrum. Tommy Lee. Maguire.
That was
Shoulder in from Emmett.
Yeah.
That was needless.
Frustration maybe from the initial decision.
I don't think he misses him here.
That's about the silliest penalty I've ever seen conceded. It's almost like you're wanting your opponents to win.
James Child and Josh McCrone in conversation. McCrone with the NRL pedigree that reflects the Wolfpack ambition, 150 plus down under with Canberra and St George Illawarra in the NRL.
Go for 2 points here. Danny Tickle. Calm and influence there he is. Well, he's passed it on to Craig Hall. Thinks that he's got more distance on his kick. This could be a vital 2 points if it goes over. We'll give him a 6 point lead with just under 5 minutes to go in the game. And you'd bet your bottom dollar that they'd work it up the field and look for a 1 point. Knowing that time's against Toronto.
Craig Hall already kicked a long distance goal at Hull, of course, a couple of weeks ago. Here he goes. On target, 2 huge points for Hull Kingston Rovers, 28 points to 22. It's their supporters, loudest now in Toronto.
Well, they wouldn't take a genius to work out where this kick's going to go. It's going to be a short, contested one. Toronto need the ball back. Joel Tompkins needs some teammates around him. He's desperate to get some bodies up. Chasers need to stay on side. It's gone high in the air.
It's just about
a knock on from the... Oh, he's given a penalty.
I think Ben Crooks, when he goes up for this ball, he was taken out. There was a player underneath him. He did ever so well. He positioned himself in the correct spot.
Oh, that's a very unfortunate penalty. Richard Whiting's just stood underneath him.
Former teammates at Hull FC, Richard Whiting and Ben Crooks. He knew where that ball was coming, Ben Crooks. He positioned himself towards the touchline so he could run onto that ball, knowing that Toronto were going to be chasing hard to try and get control of it. And you'd think now with the likes of Danny Maguire on the field, they just work the ball upfield, get to centre as quick as they can, and then maybe go for the 1 point.
Yeah, up the jumper time now before they get to that last play.
Inside the last 3 minutes, Hull Kingston Rovers grinding out their first win of these qualifiers, a crucial 2 points if it stays like this. Masoi to Lee. Quinlan now, Quinlan with a quick feed against the tiring defence. It managed to evade a couple, couldn't get through the tackle of Whiting. Tommy Lee. Atkin. Lussick with the tackle. Danny Maguire. Great ball, Junior Vaivai. Vaivai almost over the line. Has he got it ball down? He's held up.
Good defence again from Gareth O'Brien. The last line of defence. Working hard with Chase Stanley to stop that man.
Is this the last tackle? Maybe they go for the power play here and just turn over the ball close to opponent's line.
Deep
pass to Maguire.
Maguire going for the 1 pointer. It's charged down and he spilled the ball. Quinlan.
It's another set of 6 here for Hull KR.
Yeah, they're going to get 6 more. That's a crucial moment. And is that the last chance as far as Toronto Wolfpack are concerned?
Well, they had to go for that play as well, though, didn't they? They had to try and close Danny Maguire down. They knew what was coming on. There's a mistake here from Danny Tickle. Toronto will get 1 more goal at Hull KR.
They immediately form the scrum.
Well, this is how you want a game to finish, isn't it? Just over 60 seconds to go. The home side needs 6 points to at least earn a draw in this match, which will be very significant. We know how tight the league table is after 7 rounds, 8-team competition. Vaivai held up. O'Brien and Cole get underneath him. Referee perfectly placed to say no. Some grounded, but they're going to need some real magic now. The home support doing everything they can to lift the Toronto Wolfpack. Has anybody got a piece of magic? Stanley tries to run through them.
Important tackle coming in from Tompkins. Rawstor now. Inside the last minute. 3 in the tackle ball, Kingston Rovers.
Still very physical, Hull KR.
They're only inching closer, really, the Toronto Wolfpack. Another strong carry, though, but they need to be more expansive. Ackers will play it for Sidlow. That was Lusick back for Ackers. Now Sidlow again. Is there a gap in front of him? Adam Sidlow still going. Roared on by this crowd, but he's put the ball down. Look at the relief. Look at the joy on the whole Kingston Rovers' faces. They know how tough this assignment has been.
Has been a tough game. And Hull KR look like they're going to come away with the points here. The mistake from Sidlow. The gap opened up, but enough defenders got back to stop Sidlow making any more progress towards their own line.
Well, it's never over till it's over. Yes, they need to control the ball from this scrum. Can't relax. I doubt they'll throw many passes, if any. Referee's trying to sort out this wrestling contest, which is supposed to look like a scrum.
Maguire. It is a carry, as expected. Lusick with the tackle on Atkin.
All outside backs now.
Joe Wardle.
Wardle, Craig Hall now. Like Phil said, no one's looking to pass this ball. Vaivai comes in.
Vaivai taken by Emmett. This is Maguire. And there is the hooter to come up for the Wolfpack. It's going to be the last action, though, surely. And Hull Kingston Rovers have clung on for 2 vital points in Toronto, the first Super League visitors to the Lamport Stadium. It wasn't pretty at times, but 2 huge points for Tim Sheens' men. They've won this one by 28 points to 22.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Hull Kingston Rovers get their qualifiers campaign up and running. 6-point victory in the end. 8-point lead at half-time. The Toronto Wolfpack hit back in that second 40 minutes. We'll give you an update of the qualifiers table now.